What's up everyone, Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick and I have a collection update for you. Got some more stuff on some distros again, because my impulse control again is very weak. They had some cool stuff on Dark Descent and I had to go and snag them before they disappeared again because there were a couple of key reissues that I saw in there that I pretty much had to have. Also got a really cool gift from a fellow YouTuber out there, Metal Viking 82. I'm gonna leave a link to his channel as well in the description so you can go check it out because he has a lot of killer content, goes over a lot of stuff and a lot of underground stuff as well as like more popular stuff, so nice and balanced. But he sent me something really cool and I can't wait to show you guys. So I'm just gonna get right into this and here we go. Body Void, Bury Me Beneath This Rotting Earth. This is this band's third album. They are a sludge/doom band from Vermont. This is their first album on Prosthetic Records, and this is some insanely heavy, droning sludge. Like, this is fiercely oppressive. 4 songs, over 50 minutes. So all these tracks crack the 10-minute mark, and man, dude, they are heavy and oppressive. They kind of feel long, but I mean, that's kind of drone and sludge, so you're gonna get that. There's a lot of layers to this, and every layer is ugly, which, I mean, that's appropriate for sludge and doom. The vocals are kind of back in the mix, and they're kind of these, you know, echoey shouts and screams, and I don't know, they kind of have like a hardcore sound to them, a little bit like Primitive Man, I guess. Now this album will break it up a little bit with occasional blast beats and some D beats here and there, but most of the stays a very slow, lumbering pace. And I will have to admit, I kind of got like zoned out on this listening to it. I like it. It's great for the giant oppressive atmosphere, but I needed some more riffy moments. That's just me though. But overall, I would definitely say check this out. I definitely want to check out their previous albums because, again, this is just heavier than hell. And if you're looking for dense, oppressive atmosphere, this should do it right here. This is absolutely nasty and unforgiving, and you should definitely check it out. Discharge, Protest and Survive. This is their anthology that came out last year. This is something I needed to own because, believe it or not, this is the only Discharge I own. I've been sorely slacking in that department. I like Discharge. I've definitely jammed plenty of their stuff because a lot of this stuff on here was very familiar, and there is a lot of stuff on here. This is 53 tracks worth of music here on 2 discs, and it definitely spans across their entire career. I love D-Beat and Crust, and there's a lot of disc bands that I listened to that were definitely heavily influenced by these guys. Dysphere, Distrust, Dishammer, Disrupt, all those. These guys definitely were super influential, and that cannot be understated. Like, listening to a lot of these songs, you can hear that proto-thrash sound, that sort of punk snide energy to it, like the in-your-face, you know, fuck you energy that, you know, we love about punk. That's what punk should deliver. As much as I love the punk stuff, I did like the later thrashier stuff, and when you start hearing those thrashy riffs, you can definitely hear how much they influence thrash metal too. Great anthology. This is a solid listen across the board. The second disc is different versions of a lot of the stuff that's on the first disc, but I recommend both discs. I recommend just getting into Discharge because Discharge is awesome. That's pretty much all I think I need to say about this one. So yeah, if you love Discharge and you don't have any Discharge at this point, which this sounds like I'm talking about something else, probably more gross, but I'm not. Check this out. This is a nice starting place. This gives you a wide swath of different stuff that they did, and I would say all of it's awesome. So definitely check this out. Funeral Throne, Threshold. This is this UK black metal band's second album. Originally came out in 2014, though this is the 2015 reissue on Blut Eisen Productions. This is some awesome black metal, and I think it kind of borders on black and death metal, but it may just be really well-written, dynamic black metal with occasional death metal vocals. The vocals are really cool in here because they do a lot of different deliveries. You have howls and groans, deep guttural roars. There are 2 vocalists. I believe it's the bassist that is the backup vocalist on here. There are even cleans on here though. On the song Hypnotic Coils, there's actually some really cool harmonized chants that I thought were really good. And then lots of melody, especially the song Vessels, which, wow, is absolutely incredible song. Great catchy melody at the end, but This is really dynamic black metal, I guess. It's very riff-oriented. There are lots of parts to these songs, and the songs are generally a little bit longer, so there's a lot of room for them to keep building. And the main thing I like about this is this harks the great balance that I like between riffs and atmosphere. They do both well, and one is not overdone in the favor of the other. Really solid stuff. I definitely want to check out more by this band, because this has great hooks in it, and it sounds evil as hell. That's pretty much the kind of black metal I get into. So if any of that sounds good, I recommend checking this out. Intonate, Severed Within. This is their second album, came out on Willowtip Records. This is a Montreal-based progressive death metal band. It's very atmospheric progressive death metal, though. Like, think more along the lines of like Rivers of Nile mixed with Immolation. We're not messing with clean vocals on any passages here. This is all very raw sounding, but the distant melodies are very similar to a band like Rivers of Nile. Now, looking up information on these guys, I was kind of entertained by the fact that their name used to be Deathlehem from 2008 to 2013, and I just wanted to bring that up because that's kind of clever and I think it's kind of funny. This is only 5 tracks long, but this is over 40 minutes worth of music, so these are nice long songs, and if you're going to do progressive stuff, of course you want to have a lot of movements. But the cool thing about this is it doesn't feel like proggy in the sense of like, you know, Dream Theater or anything like that. This is raw and dark sounding and very atmospheric, but also a fair amount of melody. The last 2 tracks, Wander and Prolong, are absolutely beautiful. Like, there are some sections on there that are just jaw-droppingly just melodic as hell. This doesn't overdo technical play on here. This is very solid songwriting, and I would say it could use a little bit more in the lead work, but overall, I was thoroughly impressed by this, and I literally just picked this up on a whim. I did not know anything about this band. I saw it was on Willowtip. I have no impulse control, and I just decided to snag it when I was in a record store, and lo and behold, it's pretty awesome. So yeah, if you like your progressive death metal, very atmospheric and dark, and not sing-songy at all at any part, definitely check this out. This is a gloomy, murky listen with a lot of killer hooks. Check it out. The Vintage Caravan, Monuments. This is the 5th album from this Icelandic retro rock, psychedelic rock, stoner rock band. Very comparable to bands like Rival Sons, Graveyard, or Blues Pills, like that sort of 70s psychedelic kind of rock, but also kind of blues rock. This album has classic rock boogie all over it. Like, it's just hook laden, and this is the stuff that I used to listen to, mainly because my mom used to listen to it. There are a lot of elements of course, Black Sabbath, but you get like stuff that sounds a little bit like Cheap Trick or Cream in terms of like the big classic rock hooks. And, you know, there's a fair amount of songs about, you know, lovers that have left your life and all that stuff. I mean, that was kind of a 70s trope there too. The only downside to this was the odd 70s pop ballad. I would say it's like 70s pop, like, maybe like a little Leif Garrett-ish. This one's for you. It's good, but it kind of took the wind out of the sails for me in terms of the big rock energy that was on here. But it picks right back up, and the rest of the album was absolutely awesome, so I can't really knock it there. And there's even like a bit of a ballad towards the end that doesn't feel very pop-ish. This is just straight up awesome, classic sounding 70s rock. Maybe a little metal-ish in spots, but not really. I mean, the songs sound heavier than they actually are. Like, you have songs Hell, Sharp Teeth, Torn in Two. They're not that heavy. They sound like they're going to be heavy, but they're not. It's more about that classic rock feel. Pretty much the same thing that Greta Fleet wants to be, except they just sound like the poor man's Led Zeppelin. I'm still not a fan. These guys at least sound like an amalgamation of a lot of different bands, and the energy is there, the songwriting is there, the hooks are there. That's what really matters. So yeah, if you love classic retro rock, 70s stuff, I think it's one of the greatest eras of rock ever. Definitely check this out, because that is exactly what these guys are. Woorms Slake. This is the debut album from this Louisiana sludge act. Now, this originally came out in 2019. This is the 2021 reissue on Jackhammer Records out of Japan. This is Melvin's Worship. I'm just going to go ahead and say it because this sounds a lot like the Melvins. I'm talking like earlier Melvins, like, you know, Gloomy Porch Treatments, 12 Songs, Bullhead, all that fun stuff. these guys have that old energy. Even the frontman kind of sounds like Buzzo. He's a little bit raspier, and I don't think he can sing quite as well as Buzzo, because, I mean, Buzzo's a really awesome singer. But that weird, strange atmosphere is forever present. The song titles are strange, like Veni Vidi Fucky, Stiff Upper Lisp, Urine Trouble Now, as in urine, as in pee, and the really, really strange track, Our Lady of Perpetually Shit-Faced. These guys pretty much embraced all things Melvins and came up with a pretty solid album. And for the most part, I really enjoyed this, though I think towards the end, it starts favoring just being strange more than being, like, catchy and writing, like, the big, like, Melvins hooks. Earlier on the album, like, you're greeted to, like, killer riff after riff, that big sludge tone. The production on here is stupid good. But then towards the end, it just gets weird. It starts turning into, I don't know, some of like the later Melvin stuff where they just wanted to make weird soundscapes and such. But the songs I loved on here, I absolutely loved, and I adore the Melvins. So yeah, this was a pretty easy win for me. So yeah, if you love the Melvins, you love sludge metal, definitely check this out. It's strange, but I mean, if you love the Melvins, then yeah, you should be used to this. So yeah, definitely check this out. Depravity, Evil Upheaval. This is their first full length, came out on Transcending Obscurity in 2019, and this was the gift from Metal Viking 82. So thank you very much for this, because this is a banger of an album, much like their second album, which I did in a collection update not too long ago. This is straight up death metal, and it is brutal as hell. Lots of suffocation worship. The vocals are just nasty. He lurks somewhere between Frank Mullins and Corpse Grinder. I love his like slower, deliberate stuff, but when he gets those fast cadences going, it has a Corpse Grinder quality. The riffs are unbelievably tight on here, loads of groove, the drums are pummeling. This pretty much checks off a lot of the things I like about really, really brutal death metal. And this is a really cool package too, and yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and open this and show you what all you get in this if you choose to get this on Transcending Obscurity. So first off, we got a poster in here, and bam. So yeah, nice big evil poster. I gotta put that up someplace eventually because that's pretty awesome. We got a coaster with that awesome album cover on there as well. A nice sticker with that album cover as well. I mean, if you got good art, you might as well put it everywhere. We got a signed picture of the band, and it actually gives you a number here. This is number 195, and that's cool that they throw in a cool little signed bit in here. A guitar pick. I don't play guitar, but that is really damn cool. And of course, it has our awesome logo on there. And, I mean, of course, the CD, which is probably the most important part. But all of this was really cool, and I'm super glad that he sent me this, because he had an extra copy. And he asked me if I liked the band, and I had to ask him which one, because there's one in Finland too that I do like. But he sent me this, and I'm definitely shouting him out. I'm definitely strongly recommending go check out his channel, because he has a cool channel, and he did send me this. That is kind of a big part there, but he does have an awesome channel. Again, reviews a lot of different stuff, underground and more well-known stuff. So yeah, definitely check out Metal Viking 82 and check out Depravity. Check out both of their albums. They're both absolutely awesome. And thank you once again, Metal Viking 82. Cenotaph, the gloomy reflection of our hidden sorrows. Now, this originally came out in 1992 in Mexico. This is a old school death metal band to start off with, though I think their later stuff shifted more towards melodic death metal. Now, with their debut, they were definitely more along the lines of old school death metal. This actually featured Daniel Corchado, who actually played an incantation. And where I first saw Daniel Corchado, which was in The Chasm, which is a brilliant band. I recommend jamming any of their stuff. It's death thrash, progressive, I don't know. It's kind of whatever he wants to do, and it's brilliant. Now, anyway, he played bass and did vocals in this, and this is, again, very straight up old school death metal, very much along the lines of Death, Autopsy. Really strange guitar melodies in this band, and they're almost kind of like anti-melodies. They're very distant and kind of obscure and angular. Now, one thing I will say is, though this is a remaster, came out on Horus Records in 2020, this is still very muddy. It's kind of an issue with the mix. I don't know why, but the bass is very prominent in the mix. Like, it's up really high, and it doesn't help that the guitars are pretty thin. So sometimes the rhythm guitar is kind of lost in the mix. So this kind of comes across as like a really like kind of murky demo in spots, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. This sounds very raw, and if you like very raw old school death metal, I strongly recommend checking this out because the songwriting is still top notch. There's a lot of really cool groovy sections on here that remind me a lot of like Bolt Thrower and their first 3 albums. It's an adventurous sort of death metal album. I really kind of like just how odd it is. I really wish they could clean up this mix just a bit more. I don't know, that bass being so far up in the mix, it presents kind of a problem there. But I still really dug this. I've been looking for this reissue for a while, namely because originals of this are very expensive, and I definitely wanted to check this one out outside of what I just jammed on YouTube. I really dig this album. It's strange, and it has a lot of just interesting stuff on it that I think is kind of unique to this album. Really could benefit from a better mix, but I'll take what I can get here, and I finally got it, and I'm very happy with it. So yeah, if you've never jammed Cenotaph, definitely check this out. Comecon, Megatrends in Brutality. This is their 1993 debut, though this is the 2019 reissue on Vic Records. This is a Swedish death metal band that featured a different frontman on every album, and their debut album featured LG Petrov. This is a strange band. I still don't quite get the whole having a different singer on each one, though that might have been a theme, or they just couldn't keep a singer because they had different projects. Again, this one has LG on it. The follow-up had Martin Van Drunen. And the style of music is very strange. First off, again, no real drummer. They've never had a real drummer, even though they've listed fake names in the credits as a real drummer. That person is fictitious. And the drum machine is very obvious. It's just kind of like a 90s industrial metal sound, like kind of nail bomb-ish, except with death metal. Though there is a lot of thrash metal in here. There's definitely some stuff on here that kind of has like a thrashy death metal sound, like Benediction, I guess. Now, I like this one better than the follow-up. I really wasn't too huge of a fan of that one. This one is better, though it's still kind of missing something. Some of the middle songs are a little, I don't know, just kind of dull. But when they're fast and they're flying, and even if that blast beat is industrial as hell and sounds, I don't know, a little too fake, it's still pretty good. And it's riff driven. It's got LG on it. He does a great job on here. So yeah, it's a pretty solid album. I've been wanting to get this one for a while because I actually had a downloaded track that came on a Nuclear Blast sampler. Just went on my computer as an MP3, and I had the opening track, Dog Days. And I liked it. So I figured it was time to get the full album. I saw it in Dark Descent, snagged it. Here it is. And it's pretty good. So yeah, if you've never jammed this band before, definitely recommend checking them out. I would say this is probably the main release to check out, though check out the other ones. That's up to you. But yeah, this one, pretty fun. Check it out. Hellish Grimoire. This is their 2016 debut. This is a Chilean black and thrash act. This is on Unspeakable Acts and Dark Descent, sort of a shared release. I actually got their second album in a grab bag from Unspeakable Acts like forever ago, and I really liked it. So I saw their first album, and I figured why not check it out. Now, this one is very much the same style in terms of what they did before, though the production here is much more raw. This is, I don't know, closer to like actually early Slayer. I would say Show No Mercy. In fact, a lot of the riffs on here remind me of like early Slayer, Venom, and then maybe a band like R Noir. But this is like almost all high energy thrash. The song The Valley, the opening of that reminded me so much of Megadeth's Rattlehead. Not the entire riff, but the first part of it definitely sounded like Rattlehead, at least to me. I really like the songwriting on here. The vocals are very raspy and, you know, kind of drenched in reverb. The whole production, too, is just like a little bit muddy sounding, which actually kind of works to its benefit. It definitely gives it the black and creepy feel, because not a lot of the riffs scream black metal, it definitely screams way more thrash. But my favorite on here, and it has nothing to do with the vocals not being on, is the instrumental last track, the title track, which is a flat-out banger. Tons of cool movements in there. I love the melodies in there. Solid album. I definitely dig this one. Not sure if I like the follow-up more or less. I'd have to go back and jam that one again, but I know I definitely like this. So yeah, if you like black and thrash, definitely check this out. Mulder, An Act of Revenge. This is a reissue of their first demo on Dark Descent and Unspeakable Acts. This is an Illinois-based death/thrash band. It screams a little bit more on the death metal side because the vocals are absolutely awesome. They're so over the top. They remind me of like some sort of sweet spot between John Tardy and Martin Van Drunen. They are just ridiculous, and I love them. This has a very live quality, too. Just the overall sound of it. It kind of just sounds like a flat-out live jam. And whether or not this is death metal or thrash metal or somewhere in between, it's old school as hell. We're talking D beats, thrashy riffs, some breakdowns on there to sort of like, you know, bring in the groove. The only thing I would say is the vocals definitely need to come up, because on the full length that I got, which is absolutely awesome, I certainly recommend their full length, the vocals are nice and prominent, and you can hear how outlandish they are. And if you're like a big John Tardy fan like me, you'll love them. But yeah, simple, effective, catchy. There's only 5 tracks in here. They all whoop ass. Definitely check out this band. Check out all their stuff. I need to get more of it. But yeah, this is absolutely awesome, and you should definitely check it out. Morgue, Eroded Thoughts. This is their lone full length from 1993, though this is the Dark Descent reissue from 2014. This also includes both their demos, Random Decay from 1991 and Severe Psychopathology from 1992. And this was just a straight up old school death metal band. They were from the Illinois area. The bassist slash frontman of this band is now the bassist and frontman of Absconder. And I'm not going to talk about it too much, because since this is a lone release, it is an underground release, and it's old school death metal, which I love, I kind of want to save this for a retro review. But know that I like it, otherwise I probably wouldn't want to do a retro review of it. This is some pretty solid death metal. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm still going to tell you to check it out, because I tell you to check out everything. But yeah, you should definitely check it out, and it's going on a list for retro reviews for damn sure. So yeah. Torture Rack, Barbarian Persecution. This is the 2015 debut from this Portland, Oregon death metal band that features members and ex-members from a lot of different bands. Mainly the ones I would say that are prominent are Witch Vomit, Blood Freak, and Skeletal Remains. This is pure old school caveman metal. Like, this is beating people over the heads with mammoth tusks or some horse shit and just robbing them blind or something. I don't know, making a pelt out of their skin. This is just brutal. It is brutal, it's groovy, it's riff oriented, and I love it. It's absolutely awesome. I love their second album, which was the first one I ever got, and I thought that was absolutely badass. I don't know, I might like this one a little bit more. There's something about the riffs on here that are just a little bit catchier. And man, the vocals are appropriately primal as hell. The production's nice and raw sounding. And it fits. Everything fits. This is just brutal and heavy and ugly, and yeah, who doesn't love that about death metal? I would say there's a fair amount of Autopsy worship on here, which I love Autopsy. This is a nasty slab of meat and potatoes death metal, except the meat is rancid, the potatoes are rotten, and they're gonna force feed them to you. You know what? Somehow I'm okay with that as long as it comes with this killer soundtrack. It's short, but it's brutal, and I pretty much loved every second of it. So yeah, definitely check out Torture Rack if you've never jammed these guys, and check out any of the bands that they're in too. Skeletal Remains rules, Witch Vomit rules, etc. So yeah, definitely check this out. All right, well, that knocks out another collection update. I already have more stuff arriving from a couple of different distros. So there's going to be more in the future, but who am I kidding? There was going to be more anyway, because I see stuff and I buy stuff, and that's pretty much exactly how it works. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. Also, we are on Patreon right now, so if you'd like to support us there, click the link down below in the description and give us a little bit of love. We're going to throw on more podcasts, just pictures, different outtakes and such. We're going to try to throw in some content just for you guys on there, and eventually some more other fun stuff too. So definitely stay tuned there. So with that, I thank you all for watching, and we will catch you later.